Boom! Today at Tiger Drop Films, I'm going to analyze the finale of Ultraman Z, namely how believing in others when the odds are stacked against you is worth it, especially when that bond is meaningful to you. I'm going to break down this essay into 4 parts: the man in the Ultra, the parasitic villain, belief against all odds, and, in conclusion, promise for the future. So join me as we talk about the finale of Ultraman Z and how great these characters are.
はるかに輝く。おお、なるほど。それは素敵なお名前です。あれね、ウルトラマンのことみたいだな。そうっすか？なんか嬉しいですね。あ、そう思うと俺たちが相棒になったのもなんか運命みたいですね。あ、きっとそうだな。これからもよろしく頼むぜ。
To start, the majority of Ultraman Z was written by Kota Fukihara, who sadly passed away in 2020 before the show finished airing. It must be understood that the themes and story direction should be credited to Fukihara, for his ideas were the driving force of the show. Because of this foresight, Fukihara notably created a story of a man and Ultra who communicate with each other far more frequently than others, and his broad understanding of characters really come together in the finale. To understand the finale, let's first go into the backstories of the man and the Ultra. In episode 11, we get to see more of Haruki's backstory after he visits his mother Junko. Following this, Red King attacks a local city and Haruki runs to help out. During this, he spots a lone boy crying in the middle of the street as people run past him. This reminds Haruki of something tragic that happened to himself. When Haruki was a child, the monster Geostron attacked while he was with his parents at a park. His father, Masaru, tells Haruki to stay and defend his mother while he continues to help people evacuate safely, since he's a firefighter. Sadly, his father never returned due to losing his life in the chaos. In the present, Haruki becomes Z's Beta Smash form and saves the kid from Red King. However, Haruki's past affects Z's battle against Red King, where it's revealed that there were 2 Red Kings the entire time, a father and a mother. Both Z and Haruki feel guilty for killing the father, especially after realizing that the mother was only protecting her egg. Haruki instantly thinks back to his father running back to save others, and questions, "What have I done?" in horror to killing the father Red King. Together, Haruki and Z defend Red King and her egg from Storage King Joe, allowing the creature to return to her egg in peace. Episode 12 shows Haruki reflecting on all the previous kaiju he's killed as Ultraman, and he keeps thinking back to the day his father died. This episode grapples with Haruki not wanting to kill Grigio Raiden, who was a monster in constant pain because it's a biological weapon. We even see this kaiju cry during the final fight, and it's quite a heavy scene. Because Haruki hesitates to kill Grigio Raiden, Z is reverted back to his base form and knocked down by the kaiju. Then Yoko uses King Joe to save them at the last second. This plot continues to episode 14, since 13 was a special episode released during a holiday, I believe. The overall premise of this one is fun, Bolton using his psychological dimension craziness to mess with storage. But this premise allows Haruki to go back to a moment with his father when he was alive, where he learns a piece of advice that grows his character arc. And during this, Haruki asks him,
この町の消防士の方ですよね。聞きたいことがあるんです。もし誰かを守ろうとした時に、その行動が同時に別の誰かを傷つけてしまったり、守れないって分かったらどうしますか？
なんて言えばいいのかな。守りたい人を全員守れるわけじゃない。助けるために手を伸ばそうにも手の長さには限界がありますしね。だから 手が届く範囲で自分の信じる正義を守ると決めた人を全力で守る、それが使命だと思ってます。
手の届く範囲。
そのせいで傷つけてしまったり守ることができなかった人のことは僕は絶対に忘れません。偉そうなこと言ってますけど、僕なんてまだまだなんですけどね。
そうですか。あ、そうですよね。
失礼ですけど、どっかで会ったことありましたっけ？春樹、ちょっと待ってろ。
俺、握手いいですか？
は？
Hits the feels, man. It really does. Ultraman Z is a younger Ultra whose master was Ultraman Zero. Since this show is supposed to be Zero's 10-year anniversary. Man, how many times am I going to say Ultra? Z is energetic, positive, and absolutely charming. His charms are especially seen on Yoko, who develops a crush on him since the first episode, even having his picture in her locker and referring to him as Lord Z. This is a cute way of showing the dynamic between Yoko and Haruki, who clearly has some kind of crush on her, an ultra spin on the trope of the woman in love with the superhero, while the man behind the hero is right there. A bit fun if you ask me. There's even a fun scene where Z shrinks to human size and dances with Yoko while fending off aliens. Man, the show has just incredible energy. When it comes to Lord Z himself, the biggest episode he gets to himself is episode 19, where the legendary Showa Ultraman Ace comes to help. Ace tells Z the great wisdom of, "Hey kid, Chujo and Kaiji don't feel any pain, so don't go easy on them." Nah, I'm kidding. Ace actually helps Z defeat the return of the Yapul in the form of Baraba, and shows Z a move that heavily calls back to how Ace defeated the Ace Killer. Following the battle, we get a nice moment between the two where Ace reveals that Z is in fact his godson, and that he chose the name Z for him because it is the last letter of the human alphabet. He tells Ultraman Z that he is the last hero. Together, the two fly into the sunset sky. Part 2, The Parasitic Villain. Cerebro the Parasite is the main antagonist of the series, having been there since the first episode and traveled from host to host. His weird alien catchphrase in the show translates to "I'm feeling good," if that says anything about this bastard. From upgrading monsters as Shinya Kaburagi to possessing the director of storage Kuriyama, Cerebro is determined to corrupt humanity's defense from the get-go. In episode 21, the GAFJ tests their ultimate new superweapon born from the Yakpool energy of Barappa, called the D4 Ray. Any Godzilla fans watching are gonna love this part. The D4 Ray has the power to rip a hole in our dimension. During testing, this thing attracted a monster that can multiply. If this weapon sounds terrible and horrifying, well, that's because it is. However, Cerebro takes advantage of humanity's hubris and thinking they can wipe out any threat with even worse weapons. So he possesses director Kuriyama and further develops the D4 Ray, and eventually the construction of the new superweapon Ultroid Zero. This mech has a D4 Ray in its chest, much like how the Millennium Mechagodzilla had Absolute Zero. The next episodes have great moments like Julius Juggler trying to stop Cerebro, Ultraman Z literally stopping a tear in our dimension, and a group of kaiju trying to destroy Ultroid Zero. And then we get to the finale. Cerebro ups the ante by not only disbanding storage but possessing Yoko in the process.
There's lots of downtime in the show between all of this setup, so I recommend watching it. But for the sake of the video, let's keep going, eh? When Haruki and Ultraman Z attempt to fight Ultroid Zero, now piloted by Yoko, and possessed, Cerebro uses all the kaiju DNA he's gathered to make a new ultimate kaiju worthy of any Yabu's praise, Destritos. A monster so powerful it wipes the floor of Ultraman Z, seemingly destroying him with the D4 ray. In a scene reminiscent of Zafi speaking to the original Ultraman, Z tells Haruki that because of all the damage they took, if he becomes Ultraman again, then he most likely won't survive the next battle. What a great way to set up the final episode. Our heroes are beaten and all over the place, the world is falling apart, and the villain is winning. And Cerebro justifies his actions with this.
Part 3. Now we're at the final episode. Haruki gets through to Yoko in a way only a human could do, with heart. I noticed that Yoko and Haruki have an arm wrestling game can parallel back to Haruki going to meet his father again. Recall that Haruki asked his father for a handshake, a form of closure on the pain he was going through and the strength he needed to carry on. What I mean is, that sort of physical connection passed on from Masaru to Haruki, and then Haruki gave that earnest humanity to Yoko. The arm wrestling is a fun little thing that Yoko does with Haruki, and we see them play this throughout the series, with Yoko always beating Haruki. So when he finally beats her in the finale, it's symbolic of Haruki's growth as a character, where he now has true strength, being able to reach others on an emotional and spiritual level. Sure, physical strength is great and all, but I find this scene to be exceptionally noteworthy for being one of the many greater human messages of the Ultraman series, having a big heart. For all of Haruki's faults earlier in the series, like when he hesitated to kill kaiju, it wasn't because he was weak, rather because he had a genuine heart. He was able to make connections with people and show the true strength he had all along. It's part of why Ultraman Z connects to Haruki as partners, for Z also has the desire to be outgoing and helping others, even when he may be a bit over his head. The strength on several levels between Man and Ultra, warriors shining beyond, if you will, is why characters complicated like Belly Rock and Juggler agree to help him. It's why Ultraman Z and Haruki were able to help characters like Kari free herself from the Keeper Man and keep M1 from being killed. Now, how does this apply to the finale? Well, Haruki appeals to Yoko's heart, allowing her to free herself from the clutches of Cerebro. She then escapes with Haruki as they fall out of the sky together, where they place the Ultra Metals into the Z Riser as Ultraman Z shouts that they chant his name. Here the stakes are higher than ever. Recall that Z has said if they merge again, then there's a possibility that they will die. Nonetheless, Haruki becomes Z's Delta Rise Claw form and drops Yoko off with the rest of the cast. For now, only Ultraman stands in the way of Destritos. The final battle commences as everyone cheers Ultraman Z on, knowing that Haruki is Ultraman. The battle starts off even until Destritos unleashes all his power, including the D4 ray. This unholy beam even destroys Belly Rock. You know the stakes are high when a new villain destroys a weapon based on arguably the Ultra's greatest rival as a species. This D4 attack also forces Z out of his Delta Rise form, meaning he cannot use power-ups. This is such a great twist to the commonality of New Gen Ultras using a new power form in the final battle. The kaiju continues to pummel Z, however he and Haruki don't give up. Cerebro wants to win, but they can't let that happen. The audience knows it, and we've seen Destritos defeat Z with the D4 ray before. Then this happens. This rivals the finale of Ultraman Tiga. Z's theme starts blaring as he charges Destro's head on. His timer is going off, but it's not stopping him. He has the Ultra Spirit. Destros fires a D4 ray and Z counters it with his Zestium beam. And you would think he's outmatched. But no, Z and Haruki channel their willpower and push back, the Zestium beam turning into a giant Z that destroys Destros. It's straight up inspiring, willpower at its finest. In conclusion, when it comes to the real world message to the D4 ray, I find it nice to have a positive message about working together to prevent apocalyptic disasters from the super weapons those in power create. Ever since its creation, nuclear weapons have loomed over humanity and threatened mass war between countries. It's also opened the door to where we can now dictate the future of our species by trying not to cross that line of extinction. I mean, episode 24 is quite literally called The Game to Extinction. Cerebro represents a being who uses the worst intentions and side effects of humanity against ourselves, while on the other hand, Ultraman Z represents the ever-inspiring will of the Ultras, who put their lives on the line to save us. But Ultraman can only do that if people believe in his intentions. Intentions that are so simple and genuine that most people may overlook it. The beauty here is Ultraman truly believes in the idea of saving humanity because it's reinforced by the man he lends his power to. So the message here is, it's okay to chant the name of your hero, especially if they're that someone you believe in. It's okay to yell at the screen for your hero to get up, for there might be that one day you need someone to cheer you on when you need it the most. And when we face that day of terrible events, maybe we'll see that hero we want to appear. And it'll turn out to be someone not afraid to be human. Thank you for tuning in. This is my favorite Ultraman show, and there's so much I could talk about. The kaiju, the action, Jugless Juggler, you name it. Let me know in the comments what your favorite part of Ultraman Z is. Hit the like and subscribe for more tokusatsu content, and I'll see you next time.